I don't see his comment. Wait, when I talk...
Hi.
Hi. What's up? Oh, hi. Carol K says, "Yeah, I like this. Right off Jump Street. We're good to go." What's up to all our sidekicks and henchfolk out there in the Geek Nation? You're currently tuning into the Cultpop podcast live stream. We're going to be reviewing this week's books. I'm your host, Johnny Destructo, owner of Johnny Destructo's Hero Complex at 4327 Main Street in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. With me this week is... Oh, shoot, I forgot. What are you? Oh, he's a scented candle enthusiast, Noel Bartocci. Noel, tell the people something.
As many of you know, when you sit amongst many books and shelves, sometimes it gets dusty, and that dust has a kind of a smell to it. So every once in a while, you dust, you take care of it, but you need like a nice fall smell to cut through it. And today, that fall smell is Honeycrisp Apple. It's a delicious candle. You're welcome.
Also joining us is jauntily side-tilted, cap-wearing Len. Len, tell the people something.
I actually have a green apple plug-in kind of like wax thingy in my living room that I enjoy all during the month, except when my lady comes to visit because she does not like it. So I have to unplug it and light her gray flannel candle, which is what she actually enjoys.
Not sure I understand those scents, like linen. It's just like, oh, so like burning soap? We're going to set fire to soap. That's cool.
I love that
stuff.
Oh. Sam loves
that.
It's
not for us, no. It's not for us.
These candles are edible. That's what they're supposed to smell like.
See? Oh my God. Is my lady over at your house? I swear to God, it's a conversation.
Yeah, her and Sam should just hang out. Talk candles.
Also with me this week is resident New Mutant fan, Brandon. Tell
Yay.
people something.
I don't have any type of candles, but I like green apple water ice. So that's my connection.
Oh, for anyone not in the tri-state area, water ice is Italian ice in the rest of the country.
This is true. I remember when I started college and people didn't know what water ice was. I was very confused.
And it's called water ice.
Water.
I've lived here my whole life. I never have done the water thing, which is weird.
And that's why I appreciate you. One of the reasons why I appreciate you.
So we are here to discuss past week's new comic book releases. But first, we have correspondence.
Correspondence for people who watch us.
That was better.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was good. That was on point.
Yeah. So Homosexual writes in, and he says, so if you're following the Ten of Swords event, parts 2 and 3 seemed like yak, blah, blah, you get a sword. So could a reader skip the next 7 issues and join back in when whatever the story they're telling gets rolling? That's a great question, Homosexual. I don't know, because we haven't gotten there yet. I actually haven't read 3 and 4 and 5 came out this week, right? There was like 3 Ten of Swords releases. I haven't read a single one of them yet.
2, 3, and 4, right?
Yeah, no, I think it was...
X-Force, that's right. 3, 4, and 5, yeah.
3, 4, and 5.
So
I think that's what he meant. I think he meant 3 and 4, because 3 and 4 were one story. So that's probably what he means.
3 and 4 were one story? Was that the Wolverine one?
Yep, because Ben Percy is writing both books, and so Wolverine and X-Force were about Wolverine getting his sword.
Oh,
hey, super off topic. I really like Ben Percy. I think he just finished the first arc of a zombie book for AWA. I think it's like year 0 or year 1.
Year 0.
Or can you order the first trade for me?
Sure.
I'd like to give it a shot. Yeah. Well, oh yeah, I didn't know if you guys knew this podcast was just going to be orders. I'm going to go through previews, and we're just going to tell JD everything that we want to read. But those AWA books, I mean, I think the first trades are like $10 each to get you to sample in like image style.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, give it a shot.
Yeah, we're going to actually talk about a AWA book a little bit later on this here program. I guess sorry, homosexual, we don't know the answer to that, but you could try it out.
It sounds, I would say, based on what we've seen so far, he's probably right. Because 2 and 3 were Wolverine, and then 4 was Marauders, which was
Storm.
Yeah, Storm. And it was the same thing. It was just like it's a single standalone story. She gets a sword. The best part about X of Swords right now is that it seems like once they get their swords, they just stand in that circle forever. Because at the end of Wolverine's story, he shows up and Magic is still standing there with her sword. And then at the end of the Storm story, Wolverine and Magic are sitting on the ground with their swords, but they're still at that circle. So it seems like everyone.
Maybe they have to like call each other, be like, "I got it, I'm coming. Just go to the circle. No, go to the circle. We'll meet. Go to the circle."
I think it's like once you put it down, you're stuck there for 3 days.
Are they in stasis or do they look bored after like day one?
They look bored.
like a power bar wrappers around you, and it's just like I gotta go.
And
I gotta pee.
They're standing up, but then in Storms they're sitting. So it seems like they've been there a while.
They've been there for a minute, right? Yet Storm could not wait 24 hours for an answer.
If I had known you'd read this book, I would have said we should talk about it because there were some story things in that.
Oh, there's some stuff in that piece of crap.
I like Sushi Trash on Twitch says, "Yo, I don't understand that much, but I love the energy of you four."
I appreciate
That's my view of this entire program.
That's my view. So far, that's my view of this entire event. The X-Men event is just like, I like the energy, but 10 chapters of swords.
Yeah.
And then we'll get into the story. It sounds great.
So I guess we should get into a book. Let's start with Batman number 100 by James Tynion IV, Jorge Jimenez, Gilliam March, and Carlo Pagulian. The Joker War comes to a city-shattering conclusion as Batman battles the Joker in a brutal, no-holds-barred duel. This is a fight 80 years in the making, and its outcome won't just change Batman's life. It will change Gotham City for years to come. Plus, catch the first glimpse of the new villain known as Ghostmaker. And after the senses-shattering conclusion of the Joker War comes a pair of short stories that will chart what's to come in Gotham City and Batman. Don't miss the first showdown between Batman and Clown Hunter. So wait a minute. The Joker War is not only city-shattering, it is also senses-shattering. I feel like they probably shouldn't have used that twice. Anyway, what did you guys think of Batman number 100, Brandon Jackson Shorts?
Well, shouldn't have started with me. I haven't been liking Joker War from the jump. And I thought this one was okay. I thought it wrapped the story up pretty well. I think for me, I don't like the main crux of Joker War. Like Joker getting the money and I don't like that. But the character stuff around it, I like. Like I like Dick and everyone. I like the whole team coming together. I liked all that. So yeah, like overall, I think the event, the story was okay. The character development, I liked.
All right. No, retort.
I don't know if I would explicitly retort because I also was very mad by this. I really loved the art. I loved a couple of pieces of the story, like some really good set pieces and a couple of good choices. So like with these kinds of events, it usually comes down to like one major choice of the hero, whether to do this or do that. I liked what they set up here with Harley. It was just a really good kind of it was a good kind of choice of stay to save the villain or go protect her, and she manufactured the whole scenario, which was kind of cool. The only part about it that I didn't like, which is a bigger part of all of this, is that this version of the Joker is like a mastermind, which felt kind of weird, less of an anarchist, more of a puppeteer, which is fine. It just wasn't jiving with me very well. This issue was a microcosm of the whole event for me, where it was a couple of really good, like, bright shining spots, but the majority of it was just okay, like samesies, fine, that's fine, yeah.
Len, what were your emotions?
Yeah, there's a lot of spinning wheels in this book. That was my response. It's just a lot of spinning wheels. I mean, look, when you've been reading comic books as long as I have, some of the beats you've seen before. So you've seen them done well, you've seen them done poorly. Here is not done bad. To Noel's point, the art is amazing. It's great art. It keeps you engaged in the book. I will give you that. There are scenes, especially that scene you show right there with Nightwing, that are full with energy. You can see the fighting. You can feel the veracity of what he's doing, and you can also still feel the joy that he has because Oracle is back in her ear. And that's the other good part about this show, the return of Oracle, Batgirl to Oracle, and with there being so many other Bat ladies running around, I hope that she decides to take off the cape and just return to Oracle full time. If that happens, then that will be the saving grace for this issue. But everything else is spinning wheels. I agree with Noel. I don't feel like this is the Joker as we've seen him. But if you believe, having read 3 Jokers, that there are kind of the Joker in a way can be of different states and different minds depending on, his mood, then I'll give him maybe he's a mastermind at some point. But to me, it was interesting reading this Joker and then also reading Spider-Man 850 and realizing how much this Joker is now pretty much set up to be Norman Osborn going forward because of what he knows about Batman. And also I felt like his escape at the end was totally manufactured, totally BS. And the way that they pull it off and basically Batman recapping it to you sounded like either a poor editorial choice or a little bit of sloppy writing. And I don't want to give the sloppy writing on James Tynion because he's been good so far. But overall, I just thought the book was amazing art, but just meh and a story. And the whole showdown with the Clown Hunter, wow, talk about false advertising. Only thing I like about that is that the Clown Hunter did call Batman out on his ish in that little story, and I kind of appreciated that.
Yeah. Can I add? I like that you made a really good point, and I had talked to JD about this like right after I read it. When we know that the Joker's going to survive, so that's fine. No matter what they do, it's a big character. When he tells Harley that this is what happened, I was like, all right. But for some reason, the thread for me was broken when we actually saw it in a backup story that straight up undermines everything from before. Like we see him in a backup story still alive that happens after this, after the events of this. And for some reason that bothered me. I'm like, come on, just wait till like another issue later or the next arc to show exactly how he's getting away with it.
The only reason
not 5 pages later.
The only reason I'll give the caveat on that is because they do, I think, purposefully keep that character's face totally blacked out. I mean, they certainly make allusions to him being the Joker, and yes, they do show the white hands and everything like that, but that could be the ultimate fake out. So that's the only pass I'll give them. I'll give you, I felt the same way, but I think they realized that if they showed his face, then that made everything that happened on those 50 pages or however many pages before totally like worthless. So they realized they couldn't do that. And now they might pull some fake out, and this will turn out to be Hank Hall, a.k.a. Hawk.
Did they show his eye?
No, he was just in a hood.
That was for you, JD. You
Armageddon 2001.
Yeah. But I had the opposite reaction to all of you guys, except for when it comes to the Joker. I found myself thinking, this Joker doesn't feel crazy. So many times we've had the Joker in the past, and he just felt nuts, and he wanted to drive other people nuts, and madness was his whole thing. And there really wasn't any of that to this version of the Joker. It's just, this mastermind whose entire intention is to take down the Batman, blah, 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 which doesn't really make him all that different from his other foes, right? It's the Joker's insanity and unpredictability is what makes him such a threat. And this just seems very well thought out and planned and everything else. So it did feel like a strange version of the character to me. But all that aside, I've really been enjoying the Joker War. I don't know if it's just in response to my absolute dislike of the Tom King run that preceded the Joker stuff, but I had such a blast with this. I thought it was just the right amount of kind of kitschy with the story before this line with the bat sled and stuff like that. And I just really enjoyed all the characterizations. I liked what happened with Harvey Bullock. I liked what happened with Harley. I thought that was a lot of fun. Christopher St. Saucy Goodnight says, I loved Batman 100. I wish Joker had kept the suit. I enjoyed the complete lack of Damian. Can someone tell me where Gordon is?
I actually had the same question. I think since Hell Arisen, when he was like taken over by the Batman Who Laughs, he's just incapacitated. I don't exactly know how or why, or if he's thought dead. I don't know.
Totally forgot about that.
I read that arc and I don't remember.
I have two things. One, it's interesting. I feel the only thing I disagree with, I think all of you guys about, is the Joker, like his like character stuff. Because for me, it did feel like a little more sane than Joker usually is. But this felt like it's been set up before, kind of in other stories, such as like this reminded me of Death of the Family by Scott Snyder. I feel like this was just like a similar thing. And this also, calls back to that with like in that story, Joker specifically didn't want to know who Bruce was. And then in this one, he specifically says he does know. Like it's a whole, I feel like this was almost a sequel to that in many ways. Obviously different writers and everything, but they felt very similar. Also, Ghostmaker, I think his name is.
Yeah.
I don't like him. I feel like his aesthetic doesn't fit Batman at all. Like, that just doesn't look like a Batman villain, or really even a Batman, like, hero. It kind of looks like Batwing, I guess, a little. But to me, like, he doesn't look like a Batman character.
I would like to add something. Two things, actually. One, Tom King's run wasn't that bad. Two, every time you bring it up, I'm going to, like, make sure that it's heard. Like,
I think it every time he says it. Yeah.
You really enjoyed a good 30% of those issues, right, Noel?
I enjoyed the whole wrap up.
Bullshit.
I did. All 10 issues of Batman or the City of Bane I thought was great.
I'm sorry. You enjoyed the wrap up of the 75 to 80 issue run? Is that what you're saying? You enjoyed the wrap up of it?
In hindsight, what I really didn't enjoy was Nightmares, which was 7 issues out of 85.
I agree.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I didn't get, like, the wedding didn't bother me like it bothered everyone else. All of the Bane stuff didn't bother me like it bothered everyone else. People started freaking out at issue 50 and were just looking for any reason to hate it.
That's exactly what I felt.
Me.
Oh, no, I know that's not you. However, I know that's a lot of people. So every time it's brought up, it's like, actually, I don't think it was that bad. It was mainly Nightmares and how poorly that was placed.
Okay.
Like 8 issues of no plot
Yeah.
and just masturbatory art. Like, that's not where you put it. Yeah. Anyway, I read what is it? All right, relax. I just think it was better than people. I think it's going to be remembered favorably years from now.
Okay.
James Tinian IV, household name James Tinian IV, America's sweetheart, James Tinian IV.
Yes.
I get his newsletter, and some really, really interesting. After I read this, I read that. Some really, really interesting stuff about his Batman run came up, and it made me want to keep reading, because I'm going to be completely honest with you. I was expecting to drop off after 100. Like, I read it, we're good. And then just wait to hear how things are going. Yeah. What was really, really interesting about it, though, like a little behind the sausage.
A little peek behind the sausage, as they say.
A little peek behind the sausage to see how it was made. This whole he like a secret that was out there was that he wasn't supposed to be writing past issue 100. This entire 12-issue run was just supposed to be a placeholder for whatever the next DC thing was that was canceled due to Dio leaving, right? So on the fly, he had to recreate a small run into a big run and then had to keep changing his plans constantly. And I want to attribute that to how I've almost had trouble with the imbalance of this. And sometimes it felt like it was weird. Sometimes it felt like it was imbalanced. Sometimes it felt like it was slight. Sometimes it felt like, oh, look, we're telling you it's the biggest thing in the world. It was just, for me, the whole 12 issues has felt wonky. However, when it hits, it was like awesome. So I'm hoping that him revealing that he had to write all of these issues out of order, in a bubble, unaware of what the next one would be, makes me think that because now he has a plan post 100, he has like a 22-page story Bible of where he wants to go from here, that this will start to fire on all cylinders more for me and not just little blips. So I'm really hoping, I'm going to give it another arc. I'm really hoping this takes off more than it has.
I have an artistic question for you, JD.
Yeah.
What do you think of the design, the new costume for Catwoman?
Oh, the one where she's got her armpits out. I like that. It looks like it's breathable. She looks more comfortable. Although I wonder if that pinches her underarm skin sometimes.
Every single design, the armpits get bigger, right? So like Joelle Jones was just kind of like ventilation.
Yeah.
But now like Jorge Jimenez is like, it goes from here to here, like underside boob. I was like, okay, yeah.
It doesn't bother me. And honestly, if I'm going to get real, kind of hot. I think it's kind of sexy.
For all those pit fetishists.
Yeah.
It's a whole kink.
Christopher Goodnight says, this new ghost guy looks like Orpheus or Prometheus.
He does. I was ready for him to say he was basically Prometheus, which, makes sense, because Prometheus, like, kind of like, the anti-Batman and all that type of stuff. So I would have actually enjoyed if it was. Saying that it's somebody new, I was like, oh, okay. So I was kind of like a little bit on like Brandon on that also. It's issue 100, and I understand that the books are going to be continuing, but I would like for issue 100 to kind of like end a story as opposed to start another story. That's just a nitpick of mine, so that I can understand that's totally me.
It's not just you.
But yeah, I mean, I gave my thoughts on the book. I mean, it is what it is. It's whatever.
That phrase is just so tainted now.
I know.
I used to say it all the time, and now I catch myself like, ugh.
Let's move on to the next big release of the week. Amazing Spider-Man number 49, or the legacy numbering, Amazing Spider-Man number 850. And what does Diamond have to say about it? I'll tell you. Amazing Spider-Man reaches 850, and we're celebrating Spider style. As if things weren't bad enough for Spider-Man, with Sin Eater's reign of terror reaching riot level, the Green Goblin is back. Spidey has been through a lot, but even the worst things that have ever happened to Spider-Man have just been a prelude for what happens here, with an epic main story by a veritable Hall of Fame of Spider creators. And as if that wasn't enough, this issue also boasts a collection of prestige short stories by Trad Moore, Kurt Busiek, Chris Bocello, and Saladin Ahmed. So, I don't know. I would call myself the resident Spider guy in this group. He's my main guy. He's always my favorite character. And I've been really enjoying Nick Spencer's run on this book, specifically the ones drawn by Ryan Otley, who I think has been killing it. And I was really enjoying the sort of the throwback elements that Nick Spencer has been bringing to the series. Gog made a return, who we haven't seen in a long time, and it gave him an origin story that actually made me a little weepy, which I thought was a lot of fun and really cute. And he did some interesting things, like giving Spider-Man a supervillain for a roommate, and then sort of the interesting dichotomy between their kind of almost burgeoning friendship and all these other things. I was a little disappointed that despite all of the work that was put into nulling the relationship with Mary Jane, now they're back together. So it hasn't been perfect in my eyes, but I was really looking forward to this, which brought in the Sin Eater during this most recent storyline, which is a character who really struck me when I was a kid reading Spider-Man, because it was the first time I ever experienced a plot of one storyline having direct cause and effect with another storyline, in that it created Venom. It was like the thing that brought Venom to creation almost. So really cool that he was bringing this together. And I also really enjoyed the sort of gray area exploration of what was going on with the Sin Eater, and the fact that, yeah, he's shotgunning people to death, but then those people wake up and they're kind of cured. So what does that mean? Like, should we stop the Sin Eater? Like, yeah, I guess he's killing people, but they're immediately better. So what's he really doing wrong? All that sort of stuff. I thought that was really interesting work. This issue 850 put me to sleep. There was so many things in this that I just didn't care about. I don't think that it wrapped up in a way that was particularly interesting. The transformation of the Sin Eater when he shotguns the Juggernaut, I found just strange and off-putting, and seemed out of nowhere, out of left field.
It was gross.
Yeah, it was super gross, and it was like cool the way Otley drew it.
The tendrils and stuff.
I don't know. And the way they defeat him, I thought was lackluster and a little, anticlimactic. I was like, oh, we're done with that character now? We're finished? Brandon, what did you think?
Oh, shouldn't have gone to me again. Really didn't. I haven't been liking Spider-Man for like most of this run, honestly. So you were talking about how Tom King's run, I think your main problem with it, and a lot of people's problem with it, is that it's really decompressed, right?
Yeah.
And like it takes a long time to tell a short story. We have been doing this Kindred guy for 50 issues. I'm so tired of it. And like, maybe you'd think maybe issue 49, but technically like 56 or whatever because of the hunted issues. You'd think by now we would know at least like his real name. Like we would have done this story by now. Every story that isn't that at this point feels like filler almost. This one felt like pretty good. Like the Sin Eater story was interesting, and this issue I agree. This issue felt lackluster. I didn't like that. Like we spent 1 or 2 issues now with the whole Spider family being like, we got to stop him, and then in this one issue they're like, never mind, we're gonna help him. I couldn't believe it. It was so dumb.
It was so anticlimactic. That whole storyline. They had a whole issue about it, like a one shot, and then nothing.
It was one thing I did like is not the right word, but I thought was a good aspect of the story.
One thing I did read.
One thing I did experience was an emotion,
what I mean,
and it wasn't like, hate.
The Osborn stuff with Gwen.
Oh yeah, I want to talk about that.
Yeah, like when I say I didn't like it, I mean like it wasn't a happy experience, but it was a cool aspect of the story, and I thought it was cool. I liked Gwen like taking up for herself too. That was really cool to me. So yeah, that part was cool, and there were some good bits in it. Obviously, I like the backups. I like one of the backup stories, 2 of the backup stories actually. But the main, overall, I would give the issue like an okay.
Len.
I like that part about Gwen a little bit, but I would have liked if Gwen actually was the one that handled him at the end. I understand it wasn't going to happen that way because it wasn't her book, but I would have liked for her to have handled him, be the one that dealt with him, and not it be Spider-Man. Me myself, I haven't been reading Spider-Man, so I don't know who Kindred is. I remember the Sin Eaters. I know all of that. I thought it was stupid for the spider people to be standing around as astral forms, arguing about when they was going to go in and rescue Spider-Man. That felt real stupid. This felt like a Batman issue because I didn't realize that Spider-Man had his whole spider gang until you see them all standing up there all webbed up. Norman Osborn. I haven't liked Norman Osborn ever since they retconned him to have that whole situation with Gwen. So I've been waiting for somebody to put a bullet through his eye and just dead him for good. Because we can always find somebody else to put on the Green Goblin costume and keep it moving. Norman Osborn can always have other relatives that are come, out from underneath a rock. But let's get rid of him. But that being said, him teasing at Gwen was interesting. thought I like Ryan Otley's art, because he was for so long the artist on Invincible. So I like his art. I even like some of the guest artists that came in for a time on the. I actually like the way they drew right there. As you can see, JD's got it up. How they drew, how they would take it down, Sin Eater. But I agree with JD. At the end of the day, it was a little lackluster. I'm not even sure I understood the math or science of what they were doing. It was a very, very, very long fight. It felt like a Dragon Ball Z episode.
In a bad way.
In a very bad way.
Although this other page that I have up where Norman's supposed to be helping him out and he just pushes his head down.
That's what was.
I like that. But I'm sorry, go.
So I started reading this issue and then I was like, no, I don't know what the hell's going on. So I actually went back and read 48 because like it had a recap and stuff. And I was shocked how much these don't like connect to each other. Like they skip so many weird steps between issues, but then also they do it between artist changes. The transition is just really jerky, like really jerky. Designs are different. People aren't placed where they are. It's like they didn't hand off anything so much as just like, here's your script. Like it was very weird.
Actually, yeah, you and I were running the other day, and I was saying about how I was so excited to start this issue, so I took it home when I first got it, and I was like, oh, it's here, I'm going to read it. And I took it home, and I was like, oh, but when I started it, I realized I skipped an issue. Mm-hmm. I did not skip an issue.
Yeah, 48.
I went back to 48, and I was like, wait, I read this.
Yeah, I read 48. And then I started reading this. I was like, oh, did I miss something where we revealed that they took over to this, that they did this, that Juggernaut was there, that it got shot? Like all that stuff happened. Was there a one shot that I don't know about?
There was a one shot. Yeah.
Did it? I whatever.
The Sins of Norman Osborn.
Oh, right. I was going to say, I didn't feel that much of the jarring, but now if there was a one shot, I must have read that maybe.
And then when the last time I read Norman Osborn, he was drooling in a cell, and that was under a year ago. Yeah. So now he's the head of Ravencroft?
Well, I think, if I remember correctly, didn't Kindred, or the Red people, someone, I think, cured him at the end of that arc. It was either Kindred or the Red Goblin or whatever.
No, it was the whole Carnage arc, and he wasn't cured. Like he was.
I thought Kindred had cured him, but maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe.
Yeah, I thought Kindred had cured him.
Okay, I don't remember at all. But either way, like by society standards, you were in an asylum.
Yeah.
3 weeks later, you're running a mental prison or a mental hospital.
Yeah, but he's got money. He can do whatever he wants with money.
I mean, usually at least it takes a little while for the news cycle to re-over, so he's not like. It's just, it felt really weird. It was just like, hey, we got to get this guy here.
It reminds me of like maybe having coronavirus and then only 10 days later having a rally.
No. That's people haven't forgotten and they're making fun of him for it. It's just, it's just weird. It would be like naming him the president of the CDC after getting it and not caring. Like,
one thing I thought was weird, and this might just be because like I'm getting into X-Men stuff lately, but Juggernaut's powers, it's weird that Kindred or Sin Eater was able to take them, because he doesn't have like actual ability. He gets his abilities from like a thing. Like it's like a gem of whatever. Yeah, so it seems weird that
and then it turned him into a weird monster for some reason.
But it's like he didn't,
like as if the helmet was part of his
right.
Like
yeah, the whole that was weird.
Powers.
I just took it as like it's not stealing powers so much as like creating facsimiles of powers. Yeah. So it's not a 1-for-1. Like he didn't get the stone. He actually just kind of got the abilities of that person for the stone. I took it as like whatever is happening, it's like Sin Eater is able to just copy it and take it, not necessarily take it 1-for-1, right?
I do want to sort of respond to Brandon's, because another customer of mine had said something like that, like they're still doing the Kindred thing.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I'm enjoying it because I don't know who it is. I'm curious as to who it is, and it reminds me of my youth reading Spider-Man and how that was always kind of a thing. There was always some character in the background for quite a long time, and they would show up for a panel or two here, and you'd be like, who's that? It's a silhouette. Who's that guy going to be? And or like the Hobgoblin, the secret identity of the Hobgoblin was a big deal back in the day, and it went on for quite a while. So it just sort of feels like classic Spider-Man to me. So, I mean, I can understand in a time where these things usually last for about 2 issues before they reveal. I've been enjoying the long game on this particular.
I like it. Like, I would like it if it had been like 10 issues or something, maybe 15. But like,
I would even go 24.
Yeah,
I would even
like
go like 24 and 32.
Yeah.
But 56 issues, and it's still Man in the Shadows. The Man in the Shadows loses strength when every other week it's just how deep are his plans if 56 issues later we're still getting to his machinations. It's like, all right, I think there's a level where it just becomes a parody. Same with even in Spider-Man, so like the Clone Wars saga, the fact that it went on for like 3 years, after a while it was just like a parody of itself. Like, tell the story, like quit teasing the story. But that's one of the reasons why I stopped reading this so intently. Like, for about 30-something issues, I was down every single week, and it was double shipped, and I just went for it. But then after a while, it started to feel less vital and more, I'll catch up later, because of those kind of like spinning wheels in the back. Like, all right.
Yeah.
I did enjoy the first backup story.
By Kurt Busiek and Chris Pacello?
Yeah.
Bacala?
Sure, that guy. I thought that was a lot of fun. I like the headphones look, and I like that it took place, when Peter's younger. It's way back in his like late teen years. And I did not like. I actually didn't make it. I read one page of this Tradmore backup story.
I was the same way.
And then I gave up.
Yeah. I read like a page or two, and I was like, don't like this one. That's why I said I like 2 of the 3 backup stories. This one was the one I did not. Yeah.
I love Tradmore's art. However, I was actually just really tired. I think it was like 2 a.m. I read the Busiek one, and I was like, all right, these I can catch these later.
Yeah. What I don't like about Tradmore's art, I loved Tradmore's art when he was doing the Luther Strode trilogy with
Justin Jordan,
friend of the show, Justin Jordan. And I really liked his Silver Surfer. I really liked his Ghost Rider run. But there's something about this Spider-Man backup that just is kind of off-putting to me. There's something he does with the shadows that makes the shadow segments of a person's body look like they are, like I could pull them apart, like they are disconnected. It's weird.
It's his wheelhouse is absolutely like cosmic and magical and
like
surreal.
Doctor Strangey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't, other than Len bringing it up. I loved the Gwen stuff, and I just read Sins Past for the first time this year. So even though I disliked it, I find it very interesting that throughout all of Nick Spencer's run, he has been bringing up shit that no one likes.
Yeah.
He brought back Mary Jane. He brought back the Osborn stuff. It's almost like his entire like notebook of things he wants to accomplish on the title is, I'm going to do a greatest hits of all the shit that you do and don't like. Mm-hmm. So like, I'm just waiting for clones because he did Craven, he did Mary Jane, he's messing with the Sins Past stuff. He's just no F's given, which I think is kind of cool.
And then there was this third backup story, which I really liked. Who drew this?
Wasn't it?
Saldonaman and Sotomayor.
I think it was Aaron Cruder.
Oh, is that? Yeah. It looks like Cruder, yeah. But man, I like his Spider-Man. I love this bottom panel where he's just slowly getting more and more loopy because he's been hit with a bunch of elephant tranquilizers.
Yeah.
And then I didn't realize that this character pre-existed. This Adrian Toomes' granddaughter, who I think during the Mark Miller Marvel Knights Spider-Man, it was revealed that like I think one of the reasons that Adrian Toomes is even a criminal is to get money for his granddaughter, who I think had cancer. So it was like to cover her medical bills and stuff like that. And I was kind of surprised that she's grown up so much since then. And I thought this was like her debut. I was like, oh, look, there's a new Vulture. And then I read Champions #1 this week. And I went,
Exactly.
oh,
Yep.
she exists. Wait, has she been in Champions this whole time? So, yeah. I
Yeah,
like
that's
her a
what I
lot.
was
I'm looking forward to more from her.
Which to me is what made her vibe in this book kind of like, because I read Champions first. So I was like, okay, well, wait a minute. Because while she doesn't seem villainous in here, she certainly seems like she would have, from Miles and maybe one of the rest, gotten the real skinny on what Spider-Man is about, as opposed to what her grandfather has said in her head. Now, it doesn't mean that she isn't still reconciling with that, but you would have thought that she would have gotten that. Now, maybe this story actually takes place before she appears in Champions. Who knows? Because they write books, the story to be set wherever they want it to be set, so that they can do whatever they want with the characters. So that's fine. As it was, this story was cute. It was fun. It was funny. It was well done, well written, and it was cool. I wish it was the only backup in this book, because the Four Shoes one, which by Tradmore, I got through it. I didn't understand it, and unfortunately, it said to be continued at the end. I was like, well, I won't be continuing with you, so God bless. The Kurt Busiek and Chris Pichello, wild energy. It felt a lot of fun. I didn't really always understand what was happening, but that's my vibe with Pichello's art. I recognize that it's good. I just don't always understand his storytelling, but it was still fun, and it was certainly a bit of fun after reading that long fight scene. I want to go back to that fight scene for one bit, because I just want to ask you, JD, as an artist, if you can go to page 50 in that book, which is the first time that I believe we see Mary Jane, or I think it's Mary Jane, because that is one weird ass face that I see on that page.
Which page is page 50?
It's during them taking out the Sin Eater with the EMP. Keep going.
I'm
Yeah,
scrolling as fast as I can. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm gonna
You're past it.
No, he's
Oh,
not.
shit.
No, he's not.
Oh, no,
No,
you're
he's not. No, you're not.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Keep going. Keep going. Keep
Oh,
going.
there she is.
Bam. There she is.
Oh, that's a bag. Yeah, Bagley doesn't. It's not always great.
Yeah,
But
the profile is a little rough.
But it took me out because, one, because it's ugly, and then two, I'm not the hugest Mark Bagley fan as an artist, but I was loving this bit. I was loving his art on these pages. So when I saw that, it's like, oh, maybe did he get somebody else to draw that one panel, because that is not working.
Yeah, that's rough.
That I mean, there's rough, and then there's like dog. Like oof.
Yeah, like that's. Yeah,
I think the side
Where's her
profile was
eyeball?
weird, but like the
That's-
other one
that's
was
just it.
fine to me.
No, the other one is
that's
fine.
what we're talking about.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, we're talking about the side profile. The fact that her eye is right next to her ear, and
Yeah.
and she's got like a Jay Leno chin now with a cleft in it. It's just a little. It's a choice.
She's always had a cleft.
Yeah, well, it wasn't like that, man. It wasn't a cliff.
Hey, nice, well done. Let's move on to Getting It Together #1. Sina Grace, Omar Spahi, with art by Sina Grace, MX Struble, and Jenny Fine. Does anyone know how to pronounce MX? Is it mix? So, Steven Struble is non-binary. We're friends on Facebook, and they're non-binary, and MX is their new designation, but I don't know how to pronounce it. It's not Mr., it's not Mrs., it's MX. I don't know if anyone knows. Let me know.
Mix.
Newcomer artist Jenny D. Fine, that's a good name, Jenny D. Fine, shines alongside Marvel Comics Iceman writer Sina Grace and co-creator Omar Spahi with an all-new modern dramedy you didn't know you needed. Sam and Jack are best friends, and Sam dating Lauren, Jack indie rock sister, and roommate. When Sam and Lauren open up their long-term relationship, skyrocketing tensions send social shockwaves through their friend group and the entire Bay Area. And Jack, caught in the middle of it all, may be forced to take sides in a conflict he never wanted to be a part of. Life gets pretty messy when you're in your 20s and your friends are your family. I didn't know what to expect from this. I didn't know what it was going to be. I did not read any of that before reading it. I know Sina Grace and Struble used to do Little Depressed Boy, which I did a pinup in one of the issues. But I was not prepared for this book because I was so used to all the superhero stuff and the Image stuff that we've been reading that I was a little taken aback. I was like, oh, this is just relationships. This is just a slice of life, queer friendship relationship book, which I used to read quite a bit of back in the day. And I haven't really delved into them for quite a while. And I think the thing that threw me off was that it's in issues. Usually when I read these types of stories, they're in graphic novels. It's like a one and done. So the fact that it's an ongoing romance, I had to settle into it a little bit. And then by the end of it, I was quite enjoying it. I was expecting something crazy to happen or something otherworldly. And I was like, oh no, this is really just, this person fucked this person and these guys are best friends. And then, so this might be one that I sit back and I read in graphic novel form and trade paperback form. What did you guys think? No.
Oh, I thought that this was wonderful. So I've always enjoyed the fact that, or I contend that any and every genre can be thrilling and wonderful with elevated writing, right? So it could be a conflict as simple as I don't have time to do the dishes, but with the right storytelling, it becomes just as engrossing. And that this is like a perfect example of that. Like all we are is witnessing the complications of social circles. You dated he who was on a break with this person, but slept with that person, and the messiness of it. So the stakes themselves weren't necessarily high at all, but the way that it's all kind of laid out in matter of fact and cute, but realistic ways was just a breath of fresh air. Like to the point where the whole climax of this entire issue is having the courage to ask for a hug, which was just so nice. I absolutely loved this. I loved this.
Yeah, I really liked it, but I didn't love the art as much as I was hoping I would. But overall, I really liked the story. I've read some of Sina Grace's stuff. I read a little of his Iceman. I read Ghosted in LA a little bit, and I've always liked his style of like slice of life stuff. In fact, I think that's what he does best at. Like Ghosted in LA, the reason I kind of stopped is because like I found the ghost kind of boring. So like I like that this is just, there's no extra stuff to it. It's just a straight slice of life story. Oh, there's this. That happened. So I don't know what page that is, but on one of the pages there's like some sexy scenes. That's fun. I like that. I mean, obviously it's Sina Grace and he's always been like this, but I like that they were comfortable showing like a gay sex scene in the book. So that was cool.
And you know what? I don't know if I would call it a sex scene. It was a love scene. Like everything was tasteful and very matter of the fact. Like nothing is salacious in this book. It's just well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glenn.
Well, I didn't read this book, but just looking at it, it looks, I heard what Brandon said about the art, and that is kind of, it's always subjective. I'm looking at it and it looks like it's very well done. It looks like it's a book that I would be very interested in reading.
Go back.
He wants you to go back. Oh, I like that storytelling there.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at something like this, the 9-panel grid, it's really just another character telling a story to another character. However, the panels that is the recreation are given a dream effect almost.
Yeah.
But it doesn't break the page. Like very simple, non-showy things like this are almost more impressive when you could pull them off than big crazy splashes. Because it's subdued, it's subtle. Like
even on this page, look here, and there is a doubt growing in one character's mind, and it starts off as a little purple word bubble, or thought bubble, and it grows and grows and grows until you're in the last panel, and he's enveloped by this doubt word thought bubble, which I thought was really nice storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really good storytelling. I have a question for you, JD. I feel like this is like my bit for the week, but when you said like you're used to stories like this and kind of like reading them in graphic novel, one complete story form, right? Which is the way that I read now, but it was also the way that I would prefer to read stories such as this. So, from a retailer, do you think, especially for a story like this, that it might be an interesting, let's say, experiment for a creator to still put out a first issue like this, because it's almost like a primer for people. Buy it if you like it. You read the first issue, like, oh, you're in it, and it's a primer for the creators because they can gauge the interest in their story by the sales of that first issue, and then as opposed to going with a second issue, then just releasing the entire story.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Even if it's let's say you put out the first issue for $1 or $2, and then you get this first issue, and then maybe the next release is the entire trade paperback for $9.99, like an image priced trade paperback. I think that'd be a really good way to go.
Yeah,
like the opposite of Firepower.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, well, isn't that what back in the day not even back in the day, they still do it. What ash cans are supposed to be, like,
yeah, but I don't know anyone
black
who
and white
looks at
preview
those.
stories. Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I would with that kind of sales model, I would almost, unless it was like ridiculously clear and pounded over the head of the consumer, they would just be perpetually waiting for issue 2. Like, I don't know if, unless it was just almost a completely different format that tells you it's going to be this like 20 times. Like, I feel like that transition would require a lot of hand holding.
I don't know about that, because if you release issue 1, first of all, in regards to ash cans, and JD can correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember that they were as widely distributed as like a regular issue.
Yeah, just like events and cons and stuff.
Exactly.
But just in general, like preview issues, or like 10, 12-page preview issues for something that's coming that's either a graphic novel or a series.
Right.
You know what I really liked? Several years ago, over a decade, I think at this point, Scott Pilgrim was coming out, and Brian Lee O'Malley and Oni Press would release these little mini one-page stories with those characters.
Mini comics.
Yeah. Or I think in other issues from Oni, I think there was like a 1 or 2 pager of those characters in having a different adventure or a different conversation that's not in the comics. And so when Scott Pilgrim came out, you had a little bit of a primer that way. I think that's how it went down, but I think that'd be kind of cool too.
But what I was going to say is that if you release issue 1, right, and then you gauge the sales by it, you're still going to put out your story. Because you're going to put out your story because you did your story, and you're going to want to get dollars for your story. But based on the sales of issue 1, that dictates what your printing of issue 2 of the trade paperback is. If it's widely successful, then you're printing it up a little bit more. If it's not, then you're printing it smaller. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. I think that might best be an interesting experiment, so that you're not, like you said, constantly waiting for issue 2. The book is still out there, but you moderate exactly how much you're putting it out there.
Yeah, I like sales. I like not even part of the conversation. I fall back on form versus function, at least in this instance. And to me, this read like a great single issue with room to grow, because the conflict that was set up, all the things that were set up, they were resolved in this issue in a very simple, small way. So this could have been just done. And the idea, like for me, single issue storytelling is when you're able to do that, tell almost like a sitcom that does it right? You've got one small contained story that has a resolution, and these are characters that you might want to follow next week. And that's what this felt like. It didn't feel like one slice of a larger OGN. It felt like a little short story, and I think I want to continue with these characters. I'm going to wait for the next short story. So, like, in that sense, I think that this will read better in issues over time, as like Strangers in Paradise kind of does, right? But I the sales model itself, or if this was an OGN, I think it would be a different style of story. And I like this one. So I'm apprehensive to say like what would be better, because I just liked this how it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What's the next book? It is American Ronin, #1 of 5, from Peter Milligan and Art and AC Aka. Someone's vacuuming. War is over. Democracy and illusion. Real power now lies not with nation states, but huge corporations engaged in a silent war for global domination. Their #1 weapon? Highly skilled, technologically enhanced operatives trained since childhood to pledge their allegiance to the corporate flag. But what happens when one such operative breaks free of his mental chains and decides to bring the whole system down? Can one Ronin make a difference? Brandon, can one Ronin make a difference?
I mean, probably, Listen, did I read this issue? Yes and no. I started it, and then I read the end. And then, because I knew that, it's a first issue, so that'll have the important stuff. I missed, a little bit in the in-between. But the opening that I did read, I did really like. I don't know if I can tell you if one Ronin can make a difference. But I can tell you that I really liked... I read, most of his, fact-finding and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I really liked this. I thought the art was really cool.
Oof.
I thought the storytelling was cool. At first, I was like, this is just a spy story. I don't know why people were saying this is interesting. But, as it kept going, I started thinking, oh, this is cool. I like how connected he's getting to the people around his target. That was stuff I found interesting. So, yeah. I thought the issue was pretty good of what I read.
Yeah. This is not simple. The surface is just target. Somebody has a target and it takes them out. But the introduction of the being able to mainline emotions to get closer to your target and knowing how to take them out even in a better way. So the whole crux of this being he is aware of his target's deep-seated fears and anxieties. So he talks him off a ledge.
Yeah.
In the opposite direction. And I think that is I think that is so incredibly original and very, very creepy in a way that I was like, holy shit, this book. Okay. Yeah. I didn't understand the last 2 pages whatsoever. However, I was super interested. Super interested. And the art is gorgeous.
As soon as I opened this book, I went, holy cats, this art. This is just look, this is this first page. It's intense. I love it. It's emotional, but there is a detail to the cityscape that you're looking at that is just fantastic. I like the layouts of the panels and everything. The art on this, I can't believe I've never really paid attention to this artist before, but man, such a good looking book. And yeah, I was kind of curious, the same thing that Brandon said. I was like, well, what? Okay, what's the point of this? But then when we got to the reveal, I was like, oh shit, this is really cool. And actually, over breakfast this morning, I told Sushan about it. And she's like, oh, that is pretty cool. Len, what did you think?
I thought this book was a good book. I mean, y'all going on about the art. The art is great. It had a very J.G. Jones feel to me. And I'm a huge J.G. Jones fan, so I appreciated that. The vibe of it felt like the classic J.G. Jones book that he did with Mark Miller, Wanted. So I kind of like the vibe a little bit. There were parts where the storytelling I felt maybe was a little bit too cute and didn't 100% detail what was going on, but it was so well done that you kind of gave it the pass. Right there, go back one page, right there, that last panel. No, go 141. That last panel, her tongue in her mouth is perfectly done. Yeah. You can feel the emotion without having to see her eyes and everything. It was spot on.
No idea how difficult it is to draw that facial expression.
Exactly.
Lips and then teeth with tongue and then not making it look horrifying is
And it
so
works a lot
difficult.
with the eyes too at the top. Yeah.
Exactly, because they both tell the story. So it's well done in many places. I did feel that at times that where it left me a little cold, and I thought I was supposed to maybe care a little bit more than I really did. But I still was interested in everything that was going on. I think it's a book that will read better in trade because, like Noel, I too had no freaking idea what happened on the last 2 pages.
Yeah.
But you know what? If that's the worst thing that you can say about a comic, that I don't understand the last 2 pages, but I'm still there, then I'm with it.
I agree that something like this, it seems like it's going to be self-contained. This is a little bit more of maybe wait for the trade if you're not into like weekly or monthly, because it didn't feel like it would hurt the story. Like something something like Getting It Together, I think, is intentionally written for issues. I think this is intentionally serialized, so you could do either one.
Yeah, I see Randy put in the comments that ACO, the artist, did a Nick Fury miniseries that was very Jim Steranko
with James Robinson.
That
It
was
was
him.
awesome.
I remember that.
That was
I
a good
remember
looking
like
book. It had a lot of pastels, or neon colors, right?
there was like one issue that I think had like almost no dialogue or something. It was like all double page spreads, if I remember correctly. It was real cool.
Yeah, there's a hidden gem or corner of James Robinson's career that no one talks about, or like recent Marvel stuff that's all brilliant that no one really talks about. It was that Nick Fury book and his Scarlet Witch book, which was a different artist every single issue, and it was just awesome.
Yeah, I can see the comparison to Jim Steranko in this art. That's a good pull, Randy. I agree. I definitely can see it. Yeah, it's good stuff.
So what I'm taking away from these last 3 pages is this other assassin has tracked down the woman who from earlier in the issue with the cheetahs, who I actually really liked. I was glad. Yeah. I was sad to see her go, and he's just doing the same thing, and he's able to, using her blood, in his blood, he's able to experience what she experienced, and now he knows the guy for.
Right. Oh, I thought it was he's. Okay, using her blood, he's able to get into the nightmares or experience the nightmares of the person he's hunting, which is our hero. Yeah. Because they call him Nightmare. It's just, it's an unclear transition. Like this is another Ronin. This is another dude that could do what he does. He just does it instead of experiencing anxieties and fears, he experiences dreams and nightmares. Yeah. So whatever is happening in the car with the creepy, gross things, that's something that our hero experienced.
Yes. That's the reason he's going after this corporation.
It was mildly poorly communicated because it was thinking about it after the fact. Like, I think this is this to this, but as a smash cut reveal, it was like, all right.
Christopher Goodnight wants to know if Last Ronin came out or not. No, it did not. He's talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series. It's been pushed back. All right, what's up next? Let's do Rise of Ultraman number 2. As soon as I find that. Oh, there's not in the notes.
No, it's not there.
The note.
Well, let's not do that. Let's do. We only
came
find
out,
them when they're dead. Number 2. I'm still scrolling. Here we go. From Al Ewing, Simone DeMeo, and Tony Infante. Captain Malik and the crew of the Vihan 2 escape from their tyrannical government and chart a course straight to the first living god they can find. But the only thing more dangerous than what lies ahead of them is who follows behind them. This book is really fun. I thought that it was a little slow in parts, this particular issue, but overall, I think is a really interesting conceit, and I'm enjoying the characters. There was a couple of surprises in here for me. Basically we have, in the far future, there are these gods, not unlike the ones you see in the Marvel Universe, the Celestials, right? And so generally, they find these corpses, these god corpses, and then they mine them for whatever they can get, meat or whatever. And there's like the whole spaceship cruise, and they get to pick out what part of the body they want, and etc. Like, I want the ass meat. And so this our Malik here, the captain of this ship, wants to find a god that is not already dead, and so they decide that they're going to go run away from the government and try to do this. And someone's hot on their tail. What did you guys think, Len?
Again, I think I shared my sentiments when we reviewed the first issue. That I think this book is a lot of fun. It's you want to talk about some brilliant artwork that just very immersive and makes you feel like you are watching a comic book as opposed to reading a comic book. That's what this does. This story does slow down the pace a little bit to fill in some back filler, some backstory of the characters. And in there, I think that the storytelling is a little jarring because I don't think there's enough of a change of pace from in setting from where you are or in look in the artwork as far as setting up the place. I think the transitions are really only detailed by very, 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 very small captions up in the right-hand corner telling you what year you are in. And that goes against kind of like traditional comic book language where a caption like that, such as that, would be over on the left-hand side. So you don't always necessarily pick up on it right away. At least I didn't. And plus, it doesn't help that, like I said, it's small. But once you catch on to that, you can, for the most part, find your way through it, and then also catch the rhythm because the story is kind of told in a similar rhythm that you kind of pick up on what's going on.
Yeah, it goes year like 37, 36, 37. Like they have the two timelines that come together. My only real issue with this book is that I wish that they visually did something.
Yeah,
whether that
that's
was
the difference.
Desaturate the colors or not for the past to the future. Like, give me some sort of visual indicator that I'm in a different timeline because I'm reading fine, but it'd be great if it's a visual medium. Give me something more than a tiny caption. But yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. Now, some might argue that the visual change is that because most of everything that happens in present day is on board the ship, and that is highlighted by the lights of the instruments, so they tend to be more one color. But I don't think it's enough of a change, to your point, Noel, that really to break it up.
Also, too, I don't know.
It's good.
Yeah. Also, too, I don't know the makeup of the ship yet. We've had one issue, and we've only seen 2 cockpits.
Right.
So, I don't know that there's not a full bar or huge spacious bedrooms. It wasn't enough to show me this was somewhere else, really, visually. Yeah,
I agree.
Visually speaking, I think this is one of the most gorgeous books I've seen in a while. It's the color schemes are sort of reminiscent of another really gorgeous book called Isola, which I really like looking at. I think sometimes the storytelling is overcome by the saturation of the colors. And I have to look at the panel a little longer than I should to figure out what I'm looking at. But other than that, it's gorgeous. It's a gorgeous book. And I'm enjoying the story. Brandon.
I didn't get a chance to read this.
Cool.
But I am excited for it. I wasn't going to, honestly, but now that I didn't know it was by Al Ewing. I like Al Ewing's writing. And Simone DeMeo. I just saw she also did Champions, which I really liked. I like the art in that. So now that I know who the creators are, I think I'm going to probably pick it up.
I think it might be a male.
No, it's Simone. Well, it might be.
I know. I think he's Italian. We've been through only because I think we've been through this, and they did. I say they because I'm not sure now. A couple of it's one of the Boom artists, so they worked on
it's a guy.
Power Rangers and stuff. Yeah,
I just looked up. Yeah, it's a guy. My bad.
Who's the colorist on this?
Steve.
So we don't
Steve.
know.
Wait, here I got the comic. I'll look. Hang on. Illustrated by Simone DeMeo with color assists by Maria Sara Miaudi. So he did most of the coloring, and he's got assists.
Nice. It's a good looking book. All right.
It will definitely read better in trade.
God damn it, Len.
Sorry.
I was actually going to say
You said
like
that about
this,
most of the books today.
Well, I'm sorry. It's true. Look.
As the guy who owns trade paperbacks, it's surprising that you say they all read better in trade.
I was going to say that I think that this would read great in an oversized edition, like a year's worth of issues with this art. Like,
Yes, an oversized trade.
God damn it.
it's the step after trades. Yeah.
Did anyone else read The Rise of Ultraman besides me?
I read it.
I did.
Oh.
Oh.
Did anyone get the notes while I was doing this?
We got
No.
I didn't.
All right, we're going to skip it. All right.
That's good.
Anything else we want to talk about?
I have a question. JD, if I wanted to support the podcast, how would I do that?
Oh my God! You could go to patreon.com/JohnnyDestructo and help the show out if you have an extra $1 or $2 per month. That would be wonderful. If you don't, just like and subscribe and share your love for the show. Or
JD, if I wanted to subscribe, where would I go? What would the YouTube?
you could go to youtube.com/cultpopgo. We finally have enough subscribers that we can have our own URL. Turns out Cultpop was already taken by someone who hasn't used it in over 2 years, so that's real cool. But we signed up and we have youtube.com/cultpopgo. And you can go and subscribe to our channel there where we do the Thunder Rounds, we do unboxing videos, we do this here live stream every Sunday morning at 10:30 a.m. And that would help us out quite a bit.
I have the notes for Ultraman if you want to talk about it.
No.
Brandon says
No, it's totally fine. It's totally fine. It was a cute book.
It was cute. I liked it. All right. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Where can we reach Len if you want to reach him?
Hey, you're going to find me at any place and every place that you find the Black Tribbles on YouTube and wherever you catch podcasts. Just go to blacktribbles.com or look up Black Tribbles. Google us. We're Googleable.
Just Google it. No.
You could find me here every Sunday morning on the YouTube channel when JD has time to edit videos because I'm not good at it yet. And on Twitter at Mr. Bartocci, MRBARTOCCI. It's written right there. See ya.
Brandon.
I'm not on really social media, but if you leave comments on this video, I'll see them and I'll respond to them. And also, vote, please. And I don't want to speak for everyone else. I personally would like it if you would vote for Joe Biden, because I really would like it if we could please get Trump out of office and we could stop having someone who supports white supremacists in the White House. So please vote. And I don't want to tell you how to vote, except I will vote for Joe Biden.
I'm going to second that.
Yeah, I'll third it. I know that every vote counts and your vote is personal to you, but I mean, a vote for Joe Jorgensen is a vote for Trump at this point. So just don't. Yeah.
Well, I'll make it a sweep. I already voted. So
oh, nice.
I have voted and I did my vote. I did my duty and voted for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And I hope that you do too. But more importantly, I hope that you vote. Do that. Make your voice count.
Don't listen to this panel of liberal cucks. Vote for who you want.
And also, be involved. I know we have Sam, and I know Sam, you're not old enough to vote yet. But get in. You don't necessarily have to get in. Don't go polling or whatever. But get involved, find out what's happening, so that when you are old enough to vote, you know what's going on.
Yeah. Don't just listen to your parents.
Yeah.
I think we all made that mistake for the first election that we were able to participate in.
I guess that's it. We did it, you guys.
Yay!
Yay! All right. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will talk at you later.